on this episode of Trek Behind the Magic. Found props from Star Trek Enterprise. The original series. Star Trek Voyager. And Star Trek Nemesis. All this and a lot more on Trek Behind the Magic.
Hi, I'm Len Krieger. This is another episode of Trek Behind the Magic. In this episode, we're going to be looking at some of the found props of Star Trek, and in this episode, it's hardware. Now, a found prop is a movie-making term to describe an item that is literally found off the store shelf. That with some minor modifications, it becomes a high-tech, futuristic prop. So let's get right to it, shall we? Our first found prop was seen in the hands of the crew of Star Trek Enterprise. It is a Star Trek Enterprise pad. This prop is powered by 4 AAA batteries and painted with Plasticoat 102 with 2 3M rubber bump-on greebles added. The main acoudogram, showed here, when used on the show, was attached with double-sided tape. For my prop, I placed this graphic inside the light box. On the back, the ribs are 1/4-inch half rounds made by Plastistruct. Now on Star Trek, the actors referred to the pads they carried around as hall passes. And this particular hall pass comes to us right from a photographer's studio. It is a cabin pocket view CL 5000P light box. It's used by photographers to illuminate their slides and negatives. And sadly, this item is no longer being made. Rockabye baby on the treetop, when the wind blows, the cradle will rock. And when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all. Now what does this child's nursery rhyme have to do with our next found prop that was also seen on Star Trek Enterprise? It was seen all over the sets, particularly on the helm console of Ensign Travis Mayweather. It is the Enterprise wall comm. This prop is completely painted gunmetal gray. And the greebles are also 3M rubber bump-ons with Letraset numbers added. The camera is best described as Kermit the Frog's eye, and the whole prop took about an hour to complete. Now this prop can still be found at Target or Lowe's, but also check out limelight.com, and you'll find this item for about the cost of $5. Oh, rockabye baby? Still can't see it? It's a child's nightlight made by Austin Innovations. Question for you. What does this have to do with our next found prop that was also seen on Star Trek Enterprise in the episode Demons? Next up is Hoshi Sato's Universal Translator. This prop was painted all silver and 2 3M rubber bump-on greebles were added. This prop I found at Home Depot and it took me about an hour to make. Now when I got this prop home and took it apart, I found inside simply 2 magnets. I later found out that it was a chem-free toilet cleaner that's designed that when you drop it in your toilet tank, those two mineral magnets are designed so that you'll never have to worry again about bacteria, mineral stains, mildew, or fungus buildup. Or wear it on your uniform, and you won't have to worry about some pesky Andorian screaming in your face and you not understand a word he's saying. But seriously, check out COMM.com or visit Home Depot or Lowe's, and you will find this universal device for a cost of around $16. Our next found prop comes from Star Trek Nemesis. It is the Argo driving goggles. Very little modification went into this prop, and all that was really done was to add the black outline around the nose piece and buff off the company logo here and here. The prop took under an hour to complete. Now, actor Patrick Stewart prepared for his driving in a rock quarry, and when the time came, he made full use of his training, as he did 90% of the driving required for the spectacular chase scene in Star Trek Nemesis. And when it was all over, Mr. Stewart asked if he could take the Argo home with him, and he was told no. Now, the Argo driving goggles are part of Smith & Wesson's Magnum line and can be found at any gun shop. Or check out safetyglasses.com, and you could pick yours up for a cost of around $7.50. Our next found prop was seen on Star Trek Voyager in the episode Relativity. 7 of 9 was given this prop to save Voyager from being destroyed. It is the 29th Century Tricorder. This Oregon scientific alarm clock had its electronic components removed and painted gunmetal gray. The acoudigrams, shown here and here, were found online. You know, it has never failed to amaze me how the prop makers on Star Trek could take a folding travel alarm clock, rip out the electronic guts, and turn what was once made by Oregon Scientific into a 29th century tricorder. Sadly, however, this item is no longer being made. Now, this next found prop also came from Star Trek Voyager and appeared in the episode Lifeline, in which the holographic doctor traveled back to the Alpha Quadrant in an effort to save the life of his creator, Dr. Louis Zimmerman. It is the Holo Containment Unit. This prop I did absolutely nothing to, as it's original as when it first came to me. On Star Trek Voyager, the clear sections were painted and effects lighting was installed. The decals, NM8 Hydropack, and Mars and Beyond were covered, and only the letters JPL were left in place, since this product was made in cooperation with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. About the same time that this product was being sold, the Planetary Society, in association with NASA and the Lego Company, teamed up with actor Robert Picardo to help promote the Red Rover Goes to Mars project. This program gave school children the opportunity to design and navigate a Lego rover over a Martian surface through the use of the internet. Now, as for this found prop, it's a child's sippy cup that was made by Uncle Milton Industries as part of their Mars and Beyond line. Unfortunately, this item is no longer being made. Our last found prop comes from Star Trek, the original series, and was seen in the episodes The Naked Time, Obsession, The Enemy Within, and of course, the doomsday machine. It is the spectrum analyzer. The spectrum analyzer is really a Nuclear Chicago Model 2586 survey meter. Also known as the Cutie Pie, it was made between 1957 to 1960. When the prop came to me, it needed some work and it was very heavy. I think it was because of the fact that inside of it, it had 4 1.34 volt, 2 15 volt, and 4 30 volt batteries inside. All this prop really needed was some sanding and a new paint job. This is an original Nuclear Chicago Model 2586. Everything inside of her is still intact, all the way down to her serial number plate. One interesting thing about this meter is that the barrel or chamber is removable, and inside is where the chamber plugs into. Originally, this meter came with 2 chambers. As you can see from this photograph, the low range or most sensitive chamber is connected to the meter. The unplugged smaller chamber is a high range or least sensitive chamber. The chambers can be separated from the unit and operated remotely with a cable up to 100 feet. Once the chamber was separated and the 100-foot cable plugged in, 2 fold-down legs would allow the instrument to be stood in an upright position. This would allow the operator to observe the meter easily while monitoring the radiation field. However, most radiological survey meters at the time were only capable of measuring high levels of radiation that would be present after a nuclear event. Often referred to as Geiger counters, these radiological survey meters were issued by the United States Civil Defense during the midst of the Cold War in an effort to help prepare civilians for a possible nuclear attack. So, not only is this a cool found prop, it is a piece of Cold War history. One of the main reasons I began producing these programs is because of this item right here. I picked up 2 of these items online for a cost of about $5 each. This after a dealer tried to sell me one of these for $40. Now don't get me wrong, I know dealers. They have to reserve and pay for their table, sometimes up to a year in advance. Truck their wares to the convention, then you have food, gasoline, hotel bills on top of that. And at the end of the weekend, pack it all up, and it's off to the next show. So they deserve the right to make a profit. But to be fair, there's another side to this coin. There are some Star Trek fans out there that can only afford to go to 1 or maybe 2 conventions a year. And to get there, they have to squeeze 5 or 6 people into a small car, drive hundreds of miles, and once they get there, all of them sleep in the same hotel room, with most of them sleeping on the floor. And to avoid the cost of having to pay to get into the convention, they end up working as a doorman or security guard, while also missing out on most of the events that are happening that weekend. So with the little extra money that they have saved, they could pick up 1 or 2 items to take home to their collection. Trust me, I speak from experience and I've done conventions that way. And you could say, well, it's better to go to a Star Trek convention that way, sleep with 5 or 6 people in the room, split the hotel and gasoline costs, than not to go at all. But this is the point. The next time someone tries to sell you one of these, you now know to save your money, pick up something else at the convention, and pick this item up online for much less. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of Trek Behind the Magic. I'm Len Krieger. Until next time, happy hunting and take care.
This is not the end, Earthlings. We shall be back with more documents. Spider! Spider! Run for your life, Earthlings! It's a giant arachnid!